Okay guys, welcome back. You'll see here quite an array of parts here for this engine. I'm hoping to get it buttoned up. It's coming to the end of this project here now, so all of these parts are laid out here before you, and I just want to try and get them all, if not most of them, on today. I mean, they're fairly obviously self-explanatory, but I'll just zoom in on them here and go over a lot of what you see here before you. This is the stock ZRX 1200 cam cover. Apart from the fact that the reed valves have been gutted out of it, and I have tapped the ports here and threaded in some M8 stainless steel grub screws to block that area off. Those aren't the reed valves aren't needed on this project. It's obviously been powder coated gloss black. I have a selection here of two different types of block off plates here. I have Ivan's block off plates, which are also powder coated gloss black, and I have a set of Muzzy block off plates that I have found. Now these ones are not in absolutely pristine condition. That you can see here, they're a little bit pitted here and there on them, but perfectly acceptable for this cam cover. I have just given them a slightly brushed finish there, and I'm veering towards putting those into the cam cover as opposed to the Ivan's ones, because I think the Ivan's ones, everything being black, I think it just kind of tend to get lost in there. Now with the Ivan's ones, I have actually modified them here. I have reduced this lug section here so that whenever the plates go in to the cam cover like that, they're actually flush with the top. And the Muzzy block off plates have not been modified yet. I say yet because I think that's what I'll do. I mean, if I put them in there like that, now that's obviously sitting upside down. That's the way it would go. You can see that they sit fairly proud there. So I think what I'll do is I'll modify this this lug here, reduce it by about half of its own thickness, so that I'll have that same feature where it sits reasonably flush with the top of the cam cover for a nice clean look. There's obviously here a new gasket, new plug gasket seals as well, cam cover bolt gaskets. Just go over them here. One side is rubber like that. That's the side that goes down, and this metal backing washer here sits, goes up. These are the cam cover bolts. Here is a brand new front metal coolant pipe. They are notoriously difficult to get off the front of the cylinder block, and I swapped out the stock ZRX 1200 cylinder block for the one that I had from my ZZR 1200 engine, and because the pistons, I used the ZZR 1200 pistons in the engine as well. And I mean, they're exactly the same cylinder block and everything, but it was just that the pistons had come out of that cylinder, that ZZR 1200 cylinder block, so I just wanted to keep everything as a match. But anyway, as a result, I just left the coolant pipe that was in the ZRX 1200 cylinder block. I just left it in place because I just didn't want the hassle of having to pull it out and wrestle with it and maybe damage it on the way of extracting it. So I just opted to just buy another brand new one. And the O-rings, there's a little bleed screw facility at the end of these here. I have a titanium bolt to go in there, or nut to go in there, and a copper washer. These are two of the stainless steel cap head screws that I was just machining on the lathe there, so that they would have a tapered head on them. This is the rotor sensor here. It's to go in, obviously, before I put the rotor plate in. So another selection of copper washers to use in various places, you know, on the coolant pipes whenever I'm buttoning all this here up. We've got there's the stock ZRX 1200 ignition rotor plate. I've got some black silicone gasket sealant there, which I'll be using in a couple of little places around the gasket. Got a ZR 1200 pulsar cover and titanium screws for it, a new gasket for it. Let's see, this is the rear metal coolant pipe, and more of those titanium those stainless steel cap head bolts that I was machining. You'll notice on this one here, this is a UK one, and I think all of the European ones and the UK ones are exactly the same in that they have a little spigot that comes down here, and that's actually part of a carb de-icing facility that is available on the UK and European spec bikes. There's a pipe goes into that, and then it goes along the underside of the carbs and acts, and then another section of it goes down into another coolant pipe at the water pump. But it's a hassle whenever, anytime you want to take the the carbs off for any reason and to jet them or whatever it is you want to do with them. You've got to drain the whole coolant system, and then what do you do with that coolant? Do you get rid of it? Do you buy new stuff? Whatever. And then after you've put the carbs back in again, you've got to hook up the coolant pipe to this here, and then refill it, rebleed it, everything like that, and that's a blinking hassle. So on my 2005 ZRX, I'd done away with that, and I bought a new one of these here and a new other coolant pipe that goes to the water pump, and they don't have this, so that was fine. But and I replaced them with those ones. But on this 2001 engine here for my other ZRX, I opted to just retain this, but I plugged this little spigot here. As you can see, I'm using an M4 stainless steel cap head bolt that is red thread locked in there, and then what will happen is this vacuum cap will go over the top of it as well, and that little clip, and that means that it's never going to leak, and everything is without the hassle of having to do what I just described in draining the coolant, etc. This is another coolant pipe here that I've refurbished as well. There's its O-ring, which will go on here. That's its titanium bleed screw and a copper washer. You'll notice these titanium screws here that I'm using. I searched far and wide for these because although these are an M6, the normal size of the head for those M6 ones is an 8mm head, but I want this to mimic the stock ones, and those particular ones have an M10 head. They're just copper washer, and there is its little retaining screw which will go in there. We've got braided hose or braided oil line, which comes down from the right hand side of an oil reel on the side of the cylinder head, and it goes down to the front of the oil pan. I'm using a concourse oil pan, which only has the facility for one oil line that will be used, and you know, it has its own shortened oil line which goes to another section underneath that oil pan. That's shown in another video, but anyway, this is the oil line that goes down to the front of the oil pan, and so that's to go on as well. We have here the carburetor intake boots and more of the cap head screws here, M6 cap head screws that I was machining. We have new O-rings for them, which will go in to that recess there, so I don't get any you know, vacuum leaks or anything. There's the clips for them. I've got a set of 4 ZRX10 or stick coils. I've done a stick coil conversion on the 2005 and the 2001. So these ones here are the ones that I took out of the engine whenever I stripped it and took away the old stock coils. And this is its own dedicated harness, which I bought off as part of a group buy on the ZRX Owners Association forum, and it, you know, it's made specifically for these so that they work perfectly. Also, just as a mock-up, just to sort of, you know, complete the engine for the look of it anyway, we've got the carbs, which were ultrasonically cleaned and blasted and everything. There's a Factory Pro Stage 3 kit in them, and to suit the exhaust that I'm using, which will be a Black Widow. And and then we've also done away with the airbox in that bike, so we've got K&N pod filters, and lastly a new set of spark plugs. So really it's all, and also I've got, you'll have noticed here, I've got a little crankiest breather that it's my own creation. Normally on the crankiest breather, a plate which is on top of the engine here, you've got a pipe that comes out of that and goes up and into the airbox. Well, the airbox is done away with on the bike, obviously, and so I'm using a different means of ventilating that, and that is by this. Yeah, you can actually see in behind it. I mean, I could take it apart and let you see it in pieces, but it really, I think you get the gist. But anyway, so there's an array of parts. But anyway, I'll go ahead and get all this lot on and show you the completed engine. So stay with me, folks. All right, I just thought I would mention this here. I didn't use that other silicone at all. I used this here instead. And I applied a tiny little bit with a toothpick just in these half moon areas here and here. And the same on the other end, being careful not to get it on the end of the crankshaft. Okay, so there's the cam cover gasket on in place. Everything's seated perfectly. I'll just put these on. These are the plug well gaskets, spark plug well gaskets, and they just go over. They just go on there. You'll see that there's a recessed part there. That's the bottom. That just goes on like that, and very simple. Those just go on like that there, and just fit in place. 4 of those to go on, and then I'll put the cam cover on. All right, guys. All right, so let's just fit this this cam cover here. Just as simple as that. Just go straight on. All right. Now there's the little these little gaskets here, and the bolts. And like I was saying, there's your bolt. There's your metal side to that. That just goes in like that, with the metal side up and the rubber side down. And it's just as simple as that. And those are just all on to 9.8 Newton meters. All right, so before we torque them, we'll just nip them up here. So we ratchet. I don't think there's a particular sequence, you know, for tightening these down, but I'll just sort of do it in a bit of a crisscross pattern. Anyway, you know. All right, so we'll just that's them all. Just as simple as that. All right. So I think the next stage is, I'll just give that a wee bit of a wipe. Now I have the block off plates to go in there, and I have to modify those wee muzzy ones to go on there. But after I give that a wipe, I think the next stage is I'm just going to stick the spark plugs in there, because the last thing I want is for something to drop down into one of those plug holes, or else I'll just stick a bit of paper towel down in there or something like that, you know. I mean, as I say, there's open plug holes there, and the last thing you want is something dropping in. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to stick the plugs in here. I'm using the stock spec ones here, CR90K. NGK. I know everybody has different ideas on putting in plugs, spark plugs. Some want to put some kind of you know, like some kind of lubricant or something around the threads, and other people want to torque them up. I never do any of that. I just put them in dry, and just nip them up. I mean, just nip them up, and that's it, you know. There's no torquing at them for me at all. I know you can do, but that's not the way I go, you know. You know, as I say, people put you know, some kind of anti-seize or something around the threads of them, but I have a tendency, you know, the last thing you want to do is strip the head, the threads in the head, or ring off a plug or anything like that. You know, it's always a bit, you know, everybody to their own. But for me, I'll just be nipping them up here, which I will do in a wee second. You know, I mean, you could technically use a torque wrench and put like a very low torque on it, you know, like you know, 5 or 6 Newton meters or something like that on it, which would do the job. But that's it. That's all I do there. Like, and for me, that's enough. That's as far as I'm going to go with those. I may as well stick the what do you call it? Stick coils in. Just push them in like that. That's it. Just as simple as that. Now I might have to take them out again, you know, when it comes to you know, putting the engine in, because I might not have enough headroom there, you know. And as I say, you know, you can stick the harness in, you know, and you know, that harness would just go in there like that. Like that and like that, and then that there just connects into where it normally would be. All right, but I've opted to leave the harness off because it'll interfere, you know, when you come to put the rest of there's bits and bobs to go on the back of here, you know, there's carbs and everything to go on here. So I'll just take this harness off for the time being and just leave it to the one side. All right, okay, so let's put this this rear coolant pipe on, and as you can see here, I've also I've blanked off the this spigot, like I was saying earlier there, with an M4 stainless steel screw, which has been red thread locked in there, and I've also machined it tapered so that whenever I put this vacuum cap on the end of it here, it fits in snugly due to the thing being tapered at the end. So there it is. I've already put the clip and all on it, and it might be a tight squeeze with that clip on, but it's hard getting the clip over the end of it when it's you know, in place, because it kind of wants to swell up, and so I'll just push it into place and turn that there round to the inside so that it's nice and doesn't interfere with anything. All right, and then I have these wee O-rings here to go on there, and another one there, right? And I'll put a wee bit of this will be a bit of a, might not be too bad, you know, but I'll just put a wee bit of grease around that those O-rings, so that it, you know, because where they're going, it just might not, you know, just in there, just a wee smear in there and a wee smear in there. All right, and then that there'll just push in. Okay. All right, let's push this in here and see if it goes in without any problems. Just goes in there and there. Oh, lovely. Lovely. Perfect. just 3 wee screws to go in there, there, and there. And those are the wee taper head ones there that let's see if I've got the right size of, no, I haven't. Just a second. All right, so they just go in there like that. Now, they're just 9 Newton meters. So I just put those in there like that. Where's the other 2? There. And there. Okay, let's just nip them up. Once again, 9.8 Newton meters. Let's double check it's right. Okay. Perfect. All right, guys, that's another wee bit done. Okay, so we're going to put the carb intake boots on next. And I've got new O-rings for them here. Like I say, well, as normal, I just like to put a wee bit of grease around there, just to sort of, just a slight wee smear. It's just to hold the O-ring in place. Okay. And then my little screws, taper head screws, I just put, they have to just have a little bit of blue thread lock on there. Okay, and that one as well. All right, and they're just, I'll just be putting that on there, you know, nipping it up with this, this here. Now, the other thing is, I forgot to say, I'll show you it on another wee intake boot in a second. Just get that there located. I'll just nip those up. Right, I just nip those up like that. They have to be torqued to 12 Newton meters. Those. The other thing is I was going to say is that wee tag there. See that wee tag? That goes to the bottom because there's a clip goes around there, and there's like a wee tang on it, goes through, and that stops the clip from rotating. But anyway, that's the way that goes. Though, as I say, those are just nipped up. They'll be tightened to 12 Newton meters, and I'll just work my way along and do all of the rest of them, and then just tighten those, torque those up. Okay, guys.